What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Liquid Trucking Podcast. So happy to have you here today for episode, man, we're into the 80s now. We're cooking with gas. Episode 84 today. Can you believe that? That is crazy. Next episode will be George Kittle 85. Man, we are cruising right now. Love the momentum that the Liquid Trucking Podcast has built, and you guys are all part of that. Don't forget that you can send me an email at any time, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. Of course, podcast.liquidtrucking.com is our home. Everything that you need to know about the website is there. We got merch up there now. We've got descriptions of all the episodes. You can listen to all the episodes there and find out more about what we've got going on here on the air. Plus, there's some leaderboards and metrics up there for you to check out and pit yourself against some of your fellow Liquid drivers to see how things are going for you. Big shout out to my guy Tyler on this one, man. The website looks phenomenal. This guy does not know how to do bad work. And again, a lot of times people will say, oh, the podcast sounds so good. You forget that every single aspect of this podcast feeds into it, and the website is a huge part of it. I think we get on the order of 75 to 80% of our listens on the webpage, which is unheard of in podcast land. Every podcast has a website, and here's a little secret. Nobody goes to those websites to listen to the podcast. They all get them on Spotify or Apple or Google or wherever you're going to find them. So it's an interesting thing that we've got going on here at the Liquid Trucking Podcast. We've got a great group of people working on it, and we're always leaning into how it works the best for you, the Liquid Trucking driver. So that email is real important. If you've got suggestions for me, you know that I'm always taking them, and I'm also handing out goodies for those of you that get me one that actually makes it to air, which is quite a few of them, to be honest. There's not many of these that hit the cutting room floor. We like to try to produce the content for you guys that you want to listen to. So podcast@liquidtrucking.com, that's the homework for today. To open the show, we've got a little bit of extra time here, and something that we haven't done for quite some time is talk about what today is. What is today? National Today Day. Actually, I stole that because National Today is the website that I get this information from. And I'm also going to tell you a little bit about on this day in history, because there's some cool stuff. Cool stuff is I guess all relative. I went to history.com, which is like the History Channel's website, to see this day in history, and it was like the troops land in France, and Bill Clinton threatens the Iraqi leadership, and Sonny and Cher's divorce is finalized. Divorce? I think I meant divorce there. I said divorce, but their divorce is fine. It was all terribly depressing news. So I've done some work on that end. We're going to get to on this day in history here shortly, but first, let's get to what is today. And for this, again, I'm headed over to nationaltoday.com/today. And you would not believe it. I'm recording this episode on June 26th. As you guys know, a lot of times we record a couple weeks in advance. We've got review processes and production to go through. So June 26th has, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17 different designations for June 26th. Of all the innocuous days they could have picked. But I will say that one of these hits very close to home, you guys, and I'm just selecting the right button here because it deserves it. June 26th, first and foremost, for those of us that do so, is National Work From Home Day. Three party horns and an eagle screech, because for me, yeah, this means a lot. I work from my house. I'm always here. For you, the driver, I feel like this is also a bit poignant because your cab is kind of your home away from home if you're an OTR truck driver. So you are kind of working from home in a sense, but a very distant sense. So hats off to all of you guys out there OTRing it, even the regional guys, even the local guys. I know it's not an easy job. And you look at a dude like me that sits here in a chair all day and think, what an asshat, thinking that what he does is even a job. And I totally get it. But big ups to National Work From Home Day. We've also got some more, how should I say this? Convoluted? Nah, that's a bad word. Niche? I think niche is the word I was looking for. Convoluted came out of nowhere. But there's a few of these days that don't really add up to being that important to Americans. And of course, when you put 19 different designations on one day, it's going to be hard to find any one of them important unless it really pertains to you, like National Work From Home Day. Here's a few that won't probably pertain to many of you, but if they do, I'm happy, and so that's why we're talking about it. And we're going to give them all, well, we're going to give some of them a party horn. June 26th, happy Federal Azerbaijan Armed Forces Day. Okay, those guys out there fighting the good fight, I hope. I don't really know what's going on in Azerbaijan right now, but hey, if you're in conscripted military duty and you're protecting the freedoms of your country, whatever those are, I guess it's really hard to root against you, man. So as long as the United States isn't involved in a conflict with any of them right now, then happy Azerbaijan Armed Forces Day. Flag Day of Romania going down. So maybe we have some Romanians out there on the staff, or maybe some people that have family in Romania. You know, some countries on their Flag Day really blow it out. Flag Day is a big celebration, so it could be that way in Romania. June 26th is also National Forgiveness Day. And that's interesting. It's like maybe it's the dog days of summer are about on us, so you better get your ducks in a row before it gets so hot that everybody starts fighting in the streets. So National Forgiveness Day is a really big one because I think they schedule the purge sometime in July. International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. I think that's something that we can all say, yeah, happy International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Two big problems. Like to see those go away. Always good to bring awareness to an issue like that. It is Happy Madagascar Independence Day on June 26th. Madagascar gained their independence. Did I do the research on what year? Absolutely not. But happy Madagascar Independence Day. How about this? June 26th, National Barcode Day. That one gets a party horn because I know of a special fact here. On this day in history, I believe it was 1974 or maybe 1975, the very first UPC code, or barcode as we now know them, was scanned at a supermarket on a pack of gum. So how about that? Happy National Barcode Day. Where would we be without them? QR codes make me want to punch myself in the face, to be honest with you, but they're pretty handy until I see one at a restaurant at the menu, and then I want to fight people. But again, National Forgiveness Day, I forgive you for putting your menus on QR codes and having nothing that resembles a waiter or a waitress walking around the restaurant to actually wait on people, which is why people go to a restaurant. But I digress. June 26th, Happy National Beautician Day. I'm going to get lined up here in just a couple of days. I won't call him a beautician. He's a barber, but he certainly makes me feel beautiful. So, big ups is a shout out to my guy, Brooklyn J., who cuts my hair and trims my beard up so I don't look quite so homeless on this podcast all the time. National Handshake Day is also June 26th. I will tell you right now, I got a soft spot for a good handshake, man. When you make a connection with somebody with the firm grip, the eye contact, and a good introduction, man, there's nothing that beats it. I had to start shaking people's hands forcibly earlier in my life because I was so bad at remembering people's names. They would say their names to me, and it would be nothing but a mismatched jumble of letters. And immediately after that, I would be like, man, I really want a bomb pop right now. And then I would forget their name. So I figured out that if I shook their hand good, get in there, real good, firm grip eye contact, it kind of creates a moment that I remember a little bit in my head, and then I can, bam, attach that name to it. So I'm a big National Handshake Day guy. I mentioned bomb pops because it's also National Bomb Pop Day. And you get 3 party horns National Bomb Pop Day because I do think if you'd have called this just National Popsicle Day, that you would have been doing the bomb pop a great disservice. So good job on you there. National Canoe Day. I hope that some of you enjoy your time in canoes. Every canoe that I have ever been in has been a nightmare. I come from a water skiing family, and so canoes are just, they're things to tip over when you fly by on your wakeboard. That's really the only thing. I guess, fishing out of them, look, it can be fun. I'm not a kayaker either. I would like a little bit of stability if I'm going to take a craft out on the water. But I do know canoes are very popular, so have some fun. Be careful out there. Make sure you bring your life vests if you don't know how to swim, and enjoy National Canoe Day. We're working through these, you guys. I told you there was a lot of them, okay? National Chocolate Pudding Day. I'll give you... But that's it. I'm giving you half a party horn for National Chocolate Pudding Day because I like me some chocolate pudding, but I'm also not convinced that those snack packs that we were all eating when we were kids are actually pudding. Because if you make pudding like out of the packet and you boil the water and you do the thing, it's got a different texture. Those snack packs were just chocolate-flavored plastic goo, I'm pretty sure. Like, you want to talk microplastics and you hear about parts per million? Well, I think snack packs are 1,000,000 parts per million. So love me a snack pack, but really love me some good homemade pudding. But honestly, I never really have the patience for it. If I'm going to make a dessert, you guys, I want it done when it's done. I don't want to have to put it in the fridge for 3 hours first. I love cheesecake. You're not going to catch me dead making it because I can't eat it and burn the inside of my mouth when it's still hot. So, again, I digress. National Report Trade Agreement Act Fraud Day. National Report Trade Agreement Act Fraud Day. So for those of you that know what the Trade Agreement Act is, you will also know what would constitute fraud in that case. I wish all 7 of you a happy National Report Trade Agreement Act Fraud Day, and I hope that you don't burn off the fingerprints, dialing the phone to call Uncle Sam and cry wolf all day long. That sounds like that's just kind of a bitchy reason to have a day, man. I'm not saying that I back fraud, and I'm not saying that you should go do fraud, but what I am saying is, like, do we really need a day to remind people to report it? Like, it's fraud. If my buddy takes his boat out and punches a hole in the bottom of it and sinks it and calls my sister, his insurance agent, and says, hey, I crashed my boat and it sank, well, let's face it, I'm not going to turn my best friend into my sister. That's just a nightmare waiting to happen. But if it was 2 people I didn't know, maybe I would think about it. I don't know. I was taught to mind my own damn business, and I think people that are willing to commit fraud probably willing to do other things. So maybe mind your own business, but hey, also have a whole day about it. Who gives a damn? Who am I to tell you? Somalia celebrating its Independence Day alongside Madagascar. You know, my geography isn't great, but I don't think those places are too far apart geographically. So hopefully they'll be able to, as long as nothing's going on. I also, as far as foreign relations are concerned, I'm not very brushed up. So I'm hoping that Madagascar and Somalia are friends so that they can celebrate their Independence Day together, because that'd be kind of cool. You know, if like Canada would stop trying to have its own Independence Day and just turn it over to July 4th, man, I think we'd all be happy. It's also the United Nations International Day in support of victims of torture. United Nations, of course, we know that the United Nations does a lot of great things, and victims of torture, that's nothing to be joked around about. I'm not going to make light of this at all. I did not know that this was a day. I think it's cool if it's a United Nations thing, because that means there's a lot of nations that are out there trying to bring awareness to it today. So, yeah, if you know anybody that's been tortured in your life, definitely give them support, because, wow, we would not want to have to go through that. It is also Watermelon Spitting Week. Watermelon Seed Spitting Week. Sorry, I guess you can't really fit a whole watermelon in your mouth to spit it out. If you found one of those small ones, though, maybe you could... You know, like a golf ball. So I don't know how big they are. Anyway, I don't think we need a week. I know that, but see, I could be totally out of place here and out of pocket for even saying that, because those of you from the South, I know that watermelon seed spitting contests are pretty popular, and there's some people out there that can absolutely launch a watermelon seed into orbit. So I get it. Look, party horn for you. No question. I'm happy that you guys are having a whole week, but I feel like you could probably squeeze this into a day or a weekend. But by all means, I know it's hot down there in the South right now. I know you guys, the watermelon season is in full swing. Probably got some of the best watermelon down there that I've ever tasted. Sometimes I get a sour one or a dry one up here, and it just wrecks my weekend. So enjoy it. Have a whole week spitting your watermelon seeds, man. I'm here for it. Here's another party horn. Now I'm going to give you an eagle screech, because this seems American to me. And finally, World Refrigeration Day. World Refrigeration Day is such kind of a sad way to end this segment, so I'm not giving them a party horn. I'm going to give them this. You know, they talk about burying the lead, but I think on this one we buried the end. This was the right one to have as the last day, National Refrigeration Day. Of course, I understand it's one of those things that we all have to have and we all take for granted every single day. But I also don't sit here and think about how fun it was to walk down to the nearest payphone in the 1930s just so I could get a hold of somebody. Look, I know it's a really cool invention. I know if we didn't have it, a lot of things would be different. But now that we've had it for so long, and it's been here as a normal thing in our lives for X amount of years at this point, do we really need an entire World Refrigeration Day? And what are we even doing? It's Bomb Pop Day. Go have a bomb pop and celebrate the fact that you took it out of the other side of your refrigerator, and bang, ipso facto, World Refrigeration Day. We're able to take care of it here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast. It's never a problem for us. On this day in history, real quickly before we get in, the 1925 silent film The Gold Rush, directed, starring, and written by Charlie Chaplin, is released and becomes the 5th highest grossing silent film of all time. My guy Charlie Chaplin deserves a round of applause. Silent films are hard to do, man. And when I say hard to do, I mean in 2025, it's hard to watch a silent film. That is a real headache of a deal. But I will give it to Charlie Chaplin. In the ones that I've seen, or the pieces of ones that I've seen, the dude was funny in that period of time, and it's still some of it plays today. So, hey, if you're feeling up to it, The Gold Rush, 1925 Charlie Chaplin silent film, 5th highest grossing silent film of all time. Check it out. I've never seen it. Today in music, this one is just so old. 1870. Richard Wagner's opera Die Walküre, or The Valkyrie, the second in his Ring cycle, premieres in Munich, featuring Ride of the Valkyries. So I'm sure for those of you that are big into opera, that sounds like a pretty serious thing there. The Valkyrie, I'm pretty sure I've heard of that one before, and Ride of the Valkyries, I'm pretty sure I've heard that one before. So, you know what? How about this? Party horn. Party horn for Richard Wagner, R.I.P. 1870, he released the Valkyrie opera. And finally, today in sport, I like this one. 2017 America's Cup. Emirates team New Zealand defeats Oracle team USA 7-1 in Bermuda, making Peter Burling the youngest helmsman to win the cup. Now, you might think because I said cup and I talked about New Zealand and USA and 7-1, maybe we're talking about soccer here. I do believe that we are actually talking about a little bit of... No, it is. It is soccer. I thought for a minute it was going to be rugby. But it turns out... Nope, I'm wrong. It's rugby. Bummer that we got beat in rugby, but also if you get beat by New Zealand in rugby, that's like kind of expected because New Zealand is rugby and they just always have a really good team. So today in history sucked, man. It was not a good June 26th. If you're having a good June 26th, you should look back in the annals of history and say, I win today, world. Because there's a lot of other stuff that happened on today in history that sucks. And I'm not even going to bring it up to you guys because it's just going to be depressing. So let's roll on this episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast and have a good June 26th, otherwise known as National Chocolate Pudding Day. What are we doing here on this episode? Well, I'm very excited you asked because what we just got done with was really not much of it at all. What I have here is a very special guest joining us right around the corner on the podcast. This is a business partner of Liquid Trucking's, and it's not just a representative from the company. Yeah, it's a representative from the company. This person so happens to be the president of a company that Liquid works with, and we don't get them like that very often. That's reaching way up the food chain, and I am so excited. It's a fantastic conversation. Stick around for it. It's coming up right now.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
Welcome back into the Liquid Trucking Podcast. I am very excited about our next guest, a very special guest joining us today. Let me tell you first a little bit about KAW Services, and I'm going to give you the truncated version because I want our guest today to be the one that tells us the real meat of this story. But for nearly 90 years, KAW Services has been a family owned company serving the tanker transport industry to the highest standards. Now, Jason Eisenman, friend of the podcast, was supposed to join us today, and he really wanted me, as he couldn't be here, to drive home that family owned company serving the tanker industry very hard. So please give a big Liquid Trucking Podcast welcome to our guest today, President of KAW Services, Angela Castle. Angela, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you very much. That was quite the little opening there. Wow, I'm impressed.
Well, I have been very impressed with the work that you guys are doing. Now, obviously, I don't have a tank to wash out or service myself, but I know that here at Liquid Trucking, that's a very big part of the equation. And I know that KAW and Liquid have been in business together for a long time. Both of you, both sides of that coin, have now commented to me how much the other feels like family in outside conversation. So I just want to dig in with you, Angela, and find out more about KAW Services, and then talk about the relationship with Liquid Trucking a little bit, if you could.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. You did your homework. We're close to 100 years. We're fourth generation family owned business. We started out actually as a tanker business with our own trucks and tanks, and we sold that portion of the business in the 1990s to Liquid Transport Company, which is now Dana.
Mhm.
But my father, held on to the service side of the industry, which is what we have today, which is tank cleaning. We have a tank and tractor shop, and then we have an ISO container depot, as well as a parts department here on site. So that is where we are today. Like I said, fourth generation. Myself, I've been here for maybe 14 years, I think, approximately.
Wow.
Came from the medical industry. I was a nurse back in the day, so I definitely have had a learning curve, but it's a great industry to be in. And to your point, when you can find another company like Liquid Trucking that kind of shares those same family values and that same structure, it's a real gem. It's actually been a lot of fun getting to know everybody over there, and I truly enjoy coming to visit and seeing everyone, and just appreciate you having me on today. So thank you.
Oh, of course, please. I feel like the pleasure is all mine here. And really, you touched on something there that is so true, because I didn't work for Liquid Trucking when I started, and I still, I work for Liquid Trucking, but my boss is a different company. I can echo that sentiment 100%. Some of the greatest people I've ever met in the trucking industry work at Liquid Trucking, and they much like what it sounds like KAW really focuses on. They focus on the treating their employees like family aspect, and you really get that. It's something that I get a special peek behind the curtain about on this podcast all the time, is how the drivers really feel supported by Liquid, and also by the vendors that Liquid brings in. Of course, partnering with a great company like KAW and all the great services you provide is part of taking care of your employees like their family, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You couldn't have said that better.
Oh, thank you. You're very flattering to me today, and I don't feel like I'm very good at this job, so I really do appreciate it. You're inflating my confidence as we speak. So, uh,
All right. We're doing good then. We're accomplishing our task. We're
yeah,
right on target.
off and running here. KAW Services located in Kansas City. I sometimes will ask a bit of off the wall and off topic questions on this podcast, and I have to ask this one because while I have been to Kansas City, it was a short stop off to make a quick visit, and we were gone within a couple of hours. Somebody once told me that there are two Kansas cities. There's one in Missouri and one in Kansas. Um,
Yeah, go figure. Like, who makes it that confusing? We're on the Missouri side, the right side of the equation.
and,
So,
and that was my follow-up question. Do those two sides of the city have a bit of a rivalry cooked into it?
well, I mean, of course, ours is better. I mean, Missouri side is always better. Yeah, no. Well, now you've got the sports teams, and so there's like talk of, are they going to go to Kansas? And I mean, it's just getting deeper and deeper. But yeah, we're proud to be on the Missouri side. We're actually located just about 10 miles north of downtown Kansas City. So even though our address is Pleasant Valley, Missouri, Pleasant Valley is just a little dot on the map, and we are like very close to downtown Kansas City, kind of in the middle of all of it. So
Great
good
location here.
location.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right down there in the middle of the country and just available to everyone. So talk to me about some of the services that drivers can find at KAW.
Yeah, absolutely. We do kind of we pride ourselves in kind of the one-stop shop. I mean, we have a shop, a lot of people actually that come to get their tanks cleaned here. Obviously, we do food grade, chemical, dry bulk. They oftentimes don't realize when they come to get their tank cleaned that we also do have a service shop. So we have I want to say it's 22 bays. We pretty much do everything that there is to do to a tank. We do the testing, if there's a wreck job, we can repair it. I mean, the tank is pretty much endless possibilities. As far as the tractor goes, we really have gotten quite a bit into tractor work as well. So, if there's an issue with the unit when they arrive on the lot, it's nice that we have that capability to be able to troubleshoot that so that we can get them back on the road, even though maybe that's not what they initially came in for. And then obviously with having the shop, if we do need to test a tank, we don't bring dirty tanks into the shop. So we have those cleaning capabilities. So they definitely feed each other. And I know you guys have that same model at Liquid Trucking as well, which it's kind of hard to imagine not having it when you do have it because it's so convenient and kind of feels necessary. We also have the ISO container depot here. So we'll store ISO containers, food grade and chemical, clean and test those as well. And then what am I missing here? I guess we've got the parts department, so that always can come in handy.
Yeah.
We do have our own wastewater treatment facility here that, we treat all the water that we clean. So we have lots of rules and regulations that go into check there. So you guys are also familiar with that as well. So yeah, we do have a nice driver's lounge here, which is kind of an added perk. So if you are coming in and you've got to lay it, you've got some time to kill and you're tired of being in the cab of your truck, we have a nice driver's lounge that has showers, laundry capabilities, a pool table, maybe some ping pong. I don't know what floats your boat at that minute, but it is kind of nice to have a place to go beside your cab, because if you're having your truck worked on, clearly you can't sit inside it. So
Absolutely.
that is a little added benefit.
Can I ask what kind of work you would do to a 2014 Chevy Silverado? Because it sounds like a driver's lounge I might want to hang out in, to be honest
Come
with
on
you.
down. We'll even give you a free hot dog. There you
Oh,
go. You
perfect.
can, yeah, yeah. We're very proud of the free CAW dogs there. So,
That's so cool. Well, hey, I want to make sure and mention this as close to the beginning because I already forgot to do it. But if you want to check out some of what KAW has to offer, go visit their website, kawservices.com, or you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at KAW Services. And let me tell you, I've been up here this morning for at least an hour. I've put in more time than that on prior days as we were setting this interview up. You are a great follow, KAW Services, on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Your social media involvement is very good. You're on trend. I'm watching through your videos and I'm seeing all these videos that the younger crowd are doing. Like the one that stands out to me is the bring something random to work video that you
oh
guys.
yeah, that's a newer one too.
Yes, I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. The premise for those of you that aren't familiar is everybody that's involved fills their mouth with water and tries to hold it while you take out random things that you brought from your house. And walk me through what was brought up in this video, Angela, because random doesn't really even begin to describe it.
Well, yeah, and clearly we did not know what the other person brought, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, I think Hannah had a pasta maker. It was
That's
like a
what I thought it
pasta
was.
attachment for her KitchenAid mixer. Wyatt had a blower. And then I decided to dress up in my Halloween outfit, which is like start your engines. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Like
Like for the
it's
Speedway.
almost like a fire suit, like a racing fire
Yeah.
suit kind of thing. Had the Corvette logo on it, looked like.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I that one hadn't been brought out in a few years, so I was laying in bed that morning and thought, well, what a great item to bring to work today. So there we go.
Well, and I also have to say, very impressed with your guys' ability to laugh and keep water in your mouth at the same time. I'm a
Yeah.
spit take guy. If you get me going at all, I'm gonna get everybody wet. And you guys did great. I mean, nobody broke. So
No.
uh congratulations on that one. Because great video. Another one I saw was you singing I Need a Hero. I believe it was from Footloose in the tank wash with the
Oh,
same kind
yes,
of
yes.
aesthetic as the music video and everything.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
a lot of fun doing these social media ads, don't
We
you?
do. Now they don't always, I always say we should do a video of everybody's reactions when we tell everybody that we're going to do a video, because I think anybody that does social media understands that it's not always regarded with the most pleasantries, but we always end up having fun in the end. It's a good time, and everybody just, we recently just did one in Tank Wash. Rico and Ian did one, and it was, the two person, not every job requires two people. I don't know if you happen to see that one
Yep.
or not, but it is funny, what kind of decides to take off, or what, people kind of identify with, if you will. But you said they're trendy and everything. And I just want to point out that that's the classic surround yourself with people cooler than you are, because I am not trendy, but I fortunately have a lot of very trendy people. And Hannah's, she came on board more recently here, and Derek actually has been, he's the one that really has, I give all the credit for our social media to. He's extremely talented, and, is definitely very good at putting videos together and has all the creative genius behind him. And then Hannah, honestly, is, she's young and cool and trendy. So the two of them together right now has been a lot of fun. And, we pretty much just give people free reign to kind of do whatever they want. And it's been a fun journey. I'll say that. It's actually, you never know what's going to come out of a new week in social media.
Yeah. As somebody who is out there trying to, market myself in the different projects I have, I totally understand. I totally agree. There's videos of me dancing on the internet that I never thought anybody would have to see, and thousands of
Yeah.
people have seen it, and I'm so sorry to every one of you. But you're right. It's so interesting to me because I've been in broadcasting since I got out of college. So there was a point in time where I was the hip, cool, trendy one.
Uh-huh.
That time is so far in the past now. But it's a different generation of people now. The ones that grew up with social media already there. I didn't have a Facebook page until I was in college. So
Yeah.
it's a very different generation. And you're right. They know these things before they even become trendy. They know they're going to be trendy, and
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that you have somebody there that can help out with that. Because I will say you do a great job. Telling me you came from nursing into the trucking industry. I would have guessed watching some of your videos that you came from some sort of a broadcasting career. Maybe you did some
You're
TV or
very
something
sweet.
like that because you seem
Yeah.
really comfortable in front of the camera. So hats off to you. I think this
That's called
is
editing.
great. Yeah, Mike will do some very creative edits with me too
Yeah.
of this very interview, so I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back a little bit to the relationship between Liquid and KAW here. You talked a little bit about the culture and direction of Liquid Trucking and what you've learned about them over the years, and I just wonder, um, is it one of those things where Liquid comes along and you don't know much about them and you find out that they're kind of this company, like you said, you're finding out, meeting all of these people and the way that they run. How has that relationship grown over the years once you guys realize that the two companies have this family oriented staff kind of in common? I know that's a real convoluted and strange question. I'm sorry to put it to you so uh, uh, messed up like, but I just want to get more into the relationship between the two companies because as I find out more about KAW, I find them to be so similar from a culture standpoint.
Yeah, I think, like attracts like. I think it really is that simple. And I can't remember who saw who first where. In fact, I even had Chris looked it up for me, like, because, to see like when we first did business with Liquid Trucking, and it was in 2000, it was actually OFC at the time.
Hmm?
And I don't know all the history there, but in 2011, it looks like you guys may have bought a part from us. So there you go. But in 2021 is I think when we really kind of started doing a lot of work together. And I have made some visits out there, and I really do believe that just relationships are, it we learn so much more about each other in person, and so much of today's business is over email or phone, or, a lot of times you don't ever meet people in person. And so, their Liquid's team has been so gracious to come out here and take a few, they've visited our facility a few times, and we've, done lunch or gotten together and, honestly just tried to help each other out. Like there's some things that Liquid has really helped us out with, and KAW has tried to help them out with. And when you find those partnerships like that, where you're not so much worried about competition, but truly out there, being when you're able to go to somebody and say, "Hey, have you guys encountered this issue and what have you done about it?" That's that trusting relationship that, we've really just built on. And I think we all feel that way about each other, but I do think those in-person meetings and just, stopping in. I love to be able, when I go to Liquid, I typically go to their dispatch area, and they're clearly, they're all in one large area, which is very cool. And it's getting cooler every time I go there. It's cooler. It's a new building, and then they keep expanding on it. And then in fact, just recently, Mike and Chris went up there. I think it was Mike and Chris. No, not Mike. I think it was Chris and Junior went up there, and they came back, and their comments to me were that we needed to step it up. So I'm like, okay, because they thought their area was really neat, where they had, I can't remember now what it was, a foosball table, or, but that's fun. It's fun when, you get to kind of see how other people enjoy like building their culture around their team and everything. And when you walk into that area, it's just very clear that they all truly enjoy one another. And they can, it's a very collaborative space and just a cool area. You've got all that green space too, where I know Liquid has had some pretty fun parties that I've heard about. And so it's neat. You get to kind of get you or I have, I guess, gained a lot of different ideas, and I mean it challenges what we do here. It's the whole making each other better thing.
Yeah, I was that's exactly how I was thinking of it. It's like a rising tide lifts all ships. You guys
Yeah.
might have certain things that compete against each other, but in light of that, you've decided to help each other with certain challenges. I think that's so cool, and I really appreciate you bringing that up because that's exactly what I was trying to get to there. I think it's such a cool relationship between two companies that, yeah, treat their employees really well. Employees like to work there, and the employee jamboree that you're referring to that Liquid
Yes.
goes once a year is quite the bash. And actually, I think I don't. This hasn't been confirmed yet. I'm gonna say it on this podcast, and the drivers are gonna probably my phone's gonna ring for the rest of the day here. But the plan is to have the Liquid Trucking podcast out at the employee jamboree if all pieces fall into place. So I get to be at that
Awesome.
party this year, and I am so excited for it. They've got so
Yay.
much cool stuff planned. I won't blow the surprise yet, but if you ever can make it out there for the September employee jamboree, I'd say if you got a trip coming up and you're gonna make it out there, plan it around that because
I'm
lots of
gonna let
people
them know
want
you invited me. They're in trouble now.
to. Hey,
They're gonna be
look,
like, "Who did that? What? Huh? We didn't ask her to come."
bring your social media
I'll
person
just
and
bring
we
the
will
whole
have a
team.
blast.
No
There you go.
worries.
There you go. Oh man, that's great. Well, Angela, there's one thing that is on your website that I wanted to touch on before we start to wrap up here, and that is KAW's mission. In the grand scheme of things, we found out a lot about the company, the services that you provide. But I like to ask companies, especially when I get somebody as far up reaching as the president on the air, I've got to ask them about the company's mission because I know that you've put a lot of thought into it. I can tell just by checking out your social media, reading on the website, all of the media that's out there about you. So, what would you say KAW Services mission is?
Well, it's funny you bring that up, and I kind of I was thinking about that earlier, and just to be completely honest and transparent, we're actually going through all of those exercises now. We've been around almost 100 years, And it's real easy just to piggyback off of mission, vision, values, and just keep saying what people have said.
Mhm.
But we really are somewhat of a different team now. And I feel like we are culturally probably a little bit different than we were back in the day. That's a lot of years in between there. So I've had the fortunate opportunity to go through it's called a Dave Ramsey Entree Leadership Master Series course, which has been incredibly helpful to me. If there's ever anybody out there it's basically just nuts and bolts of business, because again, I did not come from the business world. I came from the nursing world. So I've had a steep learning curve, and that's one of the things that I really do enjoy is just learning about leadership, learning about business. So I've kind of taken it down to ground zero, and we're going through exercises right now to reestablish, mission, vision, values. Some of our values that we kind of laugh about a lot of times is the communicate with candor. We're exceptionally good at that one. Sometimes we're way too good. We joke about, okay, you could have like, maybe put some rounder edges around that, but we always compliment ourselves very willingly on our ability to communicate with candor. But take pride in teamwork, accept extreme ownership, be customer obsessed, act with integrity. And of course, we value safety above all else, and this industry can be very dangerous. And so that's always something that we openly discuss and talk about. And again, that's another area that I found it very helpful to be able to go out to other companies in the industry to be able to get, feedback on how they're doing something, or, if they're having an issue. Recently, a customer I guess it's more of a vendor slash one of our other family relationships, if you will, companies out there had a question about what we were doing with trailers that didn't have ladders attached to them. So it's like you feedback, and you kind of hopefully can come up with some solutions together, and then who knows, sometimes it goes up the food chain, and usually you're not the only one having a problem, or you're not the only one having that problem. So that's kind of fun. But anyway, that's the short, I guess, or long answer or response to the mission values, question. As soon as we do come up with that amazing mission statement, I'll send you a t-shirt.
Oh, I love it. We'll get you back on the podcast and I'll be wearing that thing proudly. You betcha. You said something there that I thought when you were talking about communicate with candor that was very poignant in the industry that we both work in. And that is that despite all of the rigs having 18 round wheels, it's not necessarily always the most rounded edged communication
Right. Yeah.
platform, if you will. Sometimes
This industry, no.
yes, sometimes it has it benefits you to be a little rough around the edges, I've
Yeah.
noticed, but of course, there are consummate professionals all across the industry as well. So I related to that very well. I
It's not the industry to be easily offended in.
there you go. That's the perfect and that's got to be the polar opposite of the medical industry, right? Because everything in the
Maybe,
medical
yeah.
industry
We
very
can be
buttoned up.
pretty crude, actually, in the medical industry, to be quite frank, but
Okay, okay, good. I'm
but
sure there's
hopefully
many
you're
of us that
caring.
yeah, well, there's many of us that need that crudeness in a medical scenario because hey, snap out of it. You need to understand what's going on here. So I understand that as well. Last question for you. I told you some of them are kind of going to be off the wall. I saw you in the social media videos in the tank wash bay. I've been in the tank wash bay out at Liquid Trucking. They took me up on the catwalk. They let me look right down into a tank. Actually, one of the guys was getting pulled out of the tank at the time. It was hot. It was
Yeah.
uncomfortable in there, and I started thinking about those guys that are in the tanks day in and day out. Have you ever climbed into one of the tanks in the cleaning bay just out of curiosity?
I did. They let me wash one tank. I don't think I actually did go down into it, and that's kind of a bad answer, but that's the honest answer. But you're right. I mean, you do have. It's funny. I remember thinking, well, we all need fanny packs for this job, because girls often think differently than men about things. And I'm like, well, I need like a little fanny pack to have all my little tools I could put my gaskets in here. Anyway, they didn't quite think that was as great of an idea as I did, but yeah, I have a lot of respect for them doing that job, to your point. I mean, it is hot. You've got safety equipment that you're wearing on top of your uniforms that makes it even hotter. And I mean, at this time of year, clearly it's hot. It can also be, cold. But yeah, that is a very tough job, and I have a lot of respect for the guys for doing it. And we always talk about the importance of that job. A lot of people don't realize, that food grade, you're actually part of the food chain, and it is important that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. So I don't know if that answered your question, but there you go.
Well, you're braver than I am because I would not have gotten in the thing. I'm not a claustrophobic person, but when I looked down into that tank, I felt what claustrophobia is, and I don't want to feel it any more than what I did. So,
Yeah.
fortunately, Liquid is good at, they dip my toes in the water of these things. They don't always kick me into the pool, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, great amount of respect for all of our guys, both at KAW Services and in the wash bay at Liquid. And some might say, and I'll admit this too, we're being honest here in this interview today, that the tank wash is a little bit underappreciated here on the podcast. They would say that
Oh,
about
absolutely. Yeah.
the truck and trailer shop as well, because those guys are so busy and working so hard that we don't get them on the program very often. But
Yeah.
we've been talking about it recently behind the scenes, and we are going to do some more tank washed episodes and truck and trailer shop focused episodes in the future. So we're going to shine the light on this part of the industry for sure, because it's kind of like the offensive lineman of the industry. If you think about it, the trailer
Yeah.
shops, the truck shops, and the washout bays in the tanking world, we can't live without any of those.
Well, and I think it's cool too, as technology continues to evolve, we're getting in way less tanks than we used to. So that really is our goal. I mean, we try not to get into them.
Yeah.
So in over the years, it's been neat to see how much that has decreased, because you have better equipment, you have better capabilities. Because yeah, it's definitely I don't think anybody gets super excited when they get to go down in one. So the minimal amount is good that we have to do that. So
Yeah, and if you find the person that's excited about getting in them, pay the asking price, because those people don't come around very often,
yeah,
I'm
no,
sure.
yeah. The goal is definitely to not have to do that, but unfortunately, sometimes there are those confined space entry procedures you got to follow to get down in them. But
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Angela, I've taken up plenty of your time today. Greatly appreciate the time coming on. It was a fantastic conversation. Everybody on the Liquid Trucking podcast that comes on as a guest of mine is afforded the exact same I guess, time at the end of their interview for final thoughts or anything that we might have left out that you wanted to bring up. Maybe it's a shout out to some of the employees over at KAW Services or some family members that might be listening. The floor is yours, and it is all yours. Thank you so much for being here today. Any final thoughts to share with us before we let you go?
I would just say thank you. And if you haven't been to KAW, stop on by and see us. I always love to have new visitors, and we always let people leave with treats. So come by and we'll swag you up, if you will. And
Awesome.
but appreciate your time, appreciate the Liquid Trucking team, and wish you all the very best. And I can't wait to go to the party.
Hey, there you go. The invitation's coming from me. I might have some questions to answer, but don't worry. I'll take care of it, okay? That's
Sounds
Angela
good.
Castle, president of KAW Services. Again, you can find them at kawservices.com or at KAW Services on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Angela, take care. We'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Thank you so much. You take care as well.
Fantastic stuff there from Angela Castle. Just cannot thank her enough for all the time she gave us. That's a busy lady right there. And we were able to get 30 minutes of her time, and what a fantastic conversation. If it's up to me, for sure, we will have Angela back. It's always fun when you get to talk to somebody that is the main character in a social media campaign, because, like she said, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world to just jump on camera and start being goofy. I mean, for every viral video out there, there are 15 million cringy videos that you wouldn't watch more than 3 seconds of. and it's really hard to get in front of a camera without having that number in your head. So great stuff there. As we said already, if you're not following KAW Services on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, you're missing out. And you can always go check out all their great offerings at the website, kawservices.com, KAW services.com. So big thanks to Angela Castle there. Now, we've got just a little bit of time left for this podcast episode. I mean, we kind of are mishmashing a few things together here. But it dawned on me the other day that there's something that we love to talk about on this podcast that we haven't talked about for quite a while. And it's just, cooking in the cab, food. And it's a good time for it, all right? Everybody loves something kind of summer themed. Once the dog days of summer are here and 4th of July hits, and now we're kind of getting through it till that next benchmark, which I kind of feel like is Labor Day. It's kind of the gateway from summer to fall. Football season kicks off. We all go on that one last camping trip, and suddenly it's winter. So during these dog days of summer, I got to thinking about what one of my favorite things to have was, and I've told you guys before, I grew up as a water skiing kid. I was out on the water all the time, so something that can be made easily in quantity and then it will keep for a while was very important, and I thought, hey, that kind of sounds like something that would be good in the cab, something that you can make a pretty large quantity of pretty easily, something that can be enjoyed cool, not warm, and something that will keep for a very long time. And it dawned on me, bing, I need to give you guys my mom's pasta salad recipe. Party horns all day for that pasta salad recipe. It's my favorite, and I don't know what it is that sets hers apart from every other pasta salad that I've ever had. It might be the dressing. It could be the combination of ingredients that she puts in, but really, you could chop up Legos and throw them in this pasta salad, and I would still eat it, okay? So let me read it to you here. It's real quick and easy. You're just going to get a box of tricolor rotini pasta, okay? It's the squiggly stuff. I don't know if it's rotini. Maybe it's squiggle pasta. It looks like a little spiral, right? You need that, okay? Because there's certain elements of this pasta salad that are going to get in the nooks and crannies of those noodles, and trust me, it's the best thing you'll ever have. So, 1 box of tricolor pasta, okay? We're going to get some fresh carrots, chop those up. Now, when it comes to chopping things, I feel like it's kind of a wide array of what people think. A dice, to me, is a very small cube. A chop is a little bit bigger, okay? If you've got baby carrots, just slice those things into the nice little discs. But if you're using a big carrot, like a full-on farm fresh carrot here, I would go for a dice, all right? Because big pieces of carrot, little intimidating in this salad. And I feel the same way about the sweet peppers. We want a red and a yellow sweet pepper. And if it's me, I'm dicing them. A lot of people like them chopped here, okay? Does not matter. Just get the damn vegetables cut up. You're going to love it. After that, we've got celery chopped if you're nasty. Not if you're nasty. That's kind of a way I say it, like if you're fun. I don't mind the celery. I know, like, my wife won't eat it. She would pick it out of there, and my wife eats anything. And she'll never hear this. She's like a garbage disposal, man. If nobody else wants it, it's not that she overeats. Like, she's not a big gal, but she just doesn't have very many things that she won't eat, whereas I am the picky one in the family, and so that's why we're sitting here talking about the finer points of chopping and dicing. On to the next thing. After the celery, you have an optional ingredient here where you can cut up some cherry tomatoes. Those really sweet little snacker ones, that you can just pop in like Skittles. Those are your guys. Get those quartered, okay? I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm a quarter 'em guy. And then we're going to need a bottle, and this, I think, is what sets it apart, you guys. And I don't even know if you can get this stuff everywhere because I don't see it that much even where I'm at anymore. But I know in my mom's little mountain town Safeway, she can go and get this stuff every single day. So maybe you have it, maybe you don't. There might be a good substitute here, but probably not. This is the Bernstein's cheese and garlic Italian dressing. You're going to need 1 bottle of that bad juice. And let me tell you, you're probably going to want to buy it in bulk after you eat this salad. And then some grated or shredded Parmesan cheese will work here too. I like them both. So season your water with salt, obviously, and cook your pasta. That's the only thing that we're really doing here. You got a little knife work, but everybody knows how to do that. If you can boil water, you can make this. And I come from a time in my life where I'm pretty good. I know my way around the kitchen now. I used to be able to burn boiling water, no problem. So I understand that this is not everybody has all the utensils and has all the cooking knowledge in the cab. I get that. But this is something that you can do if you can just boil water and mix stuff together, okay? So cook the noodles to your likeness. I like a little bit al dente, but again, I'm nasty. So we're going to drain that pasta, and here's a really important part of it. Cool it down. Just pop it in your fridge, whatever the case is. You got to have this stuff probably even below room temperature before you start mixing everything in. You don't want your vegetables to get soft. So cook the pasta, let it cool. While it's cooling, that's when you can prep all your veggies. And then basically we're just throwing everything in. I feel like I forgot one. Oh, olives. You can do some sliced black olives in this bad boy too. And that's it. You mix it all together. You're going to hit it with some black pepper, of course, and maybe a little salt to taste. And then hit it with the cheese on the top. And I like to mix the cheese through because I'm just a fiend when it comes to cheese. Every single size, shape, and color of cheese I'm in the boat for. So I like to hit this with quite a bit of cheese. There's a couple of things that you can do that you can add as well that my mom has played around with in the past. And I also have seen other people's inferior pasta salads come with these things in them. And I was thinking, the pasta salad itself was kind of meh, but like one lady cubed up a nice ham steak. Just a nice cold, thick, like 3/4-inch ham steak. Cube that up and throw that in there? You want a little cold bacon, like some bacon bits? That'll do it. I've seen people that are maybe vegetarian or vegan with this meal. Now, look. If you're vegetarian or vegan, I want to put a disclaimer on this. I have no idea about that dressing, okay? Because I've never looked at a nutrition fact in my life from the standpoint of a vegan or a vegetarian or somebody that has dietary restrictions for allergies or any of that. So please do be careful. Watch that for yourself. But if you're vegan, you could even cut up some tofu and throw it in this, and it's not going to be bad, man. It's really good ingredients. It's all those fresh veggies, lots of color in this. And let me tell you, if you're making it with a whole box of the pasta, you will have like a solid dish. Like, I don't know how much it's going to make. I didn't ask my mom that. She just sent me a snapshot of the recipe, but this is like making it for a family of 4. Is what I would say, because this would have been for my family, and this would have been the recipe that she made for us when it was just us going out on the boat dock for the day or for the weekend. So make this and let me know what you think. If you're a pasta salad fan, nothing's better than a nice, cool bowl of pasta salad in the summer. And there you go. You've got my mom's recipe, the best one. I'm sorry if your mom makes one and you didn't know it wasn't the best, but I'm here to tell you today that my mom's is the best. And now you have that recipe so you can try it for yourself. Prove me right. I dare you. If it's wrong and you think you've got a better one, I'll make it and put them up against each other head to head, and I'll even goddamn do it on this podcast because this is a hill I will die on. So, let me know. Podcast@liquidtrucking.com. I would love to hear any of your recipes, actually, because I want to start sharing a lot more of them on the program. I want drivers to send in easy, delicious, nutritious recipes that you make in the cab to podcast@liquidtrucking.com, and we'll talk about them here on the show, okay? We'll start to make it more of a recurring segment because I know a lot of you guys are out there, you're working on your diet, you're trying to get better, and hey, is my mom's pasta salad the best thing for you? Probably not in this quantity, but if you're going to take a cheat day, I would eat the whole bowl, just like a bowl of cereal sans the milk. Just give me the bowl and a big spoon because I don't want to do this a little bit at a time. It's that good. So give me your feedback on it. If you make it, I would love to see how it turned out. Send us pictures. You can submit pictures online, podcast.liquidtrucking.com as well. So that's going to about do it for the time that we have today. I appreciate you guys stopping by to listen to my conversation with Angela Castle from KAW Services or KAW Services. And also the National today, June 26th, when I was recording it, wild. Can't even comprehend why it's anything other than National Bomb Pop Day or National Handshake Day or National Work From Home Day. Word! All right, guys, that's going to do it for me today. We're out of time. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to check out the website, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. Email me, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. We make it so easy. I just want some friends. So send me a message, and we'll get you on the show. Until next week, stay safe out there, drivers. Keep the shiny side up. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast, signing off.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.